laughing at the TV because there's only so many selections in the spot. So I was like, there ain't nothing on it. I didn't feel like reading, so I was like, ah. So yeah, you did me.
My bad. I'm completely sipping.
It's all good.
I'm donkey of the day.
It's all good.
But I appreciate you giving us the time to get in here. But yeah,
Oh yeah, it's a long one, so we just chilling. So that's why it wasn't no thing. We here all week, so it's whatever.
That's what's up. I work from home the next 2 weeks, so we can get as many of these in as we need to. Like we need to do back to back, so whatever. It's gonna be at home for the next 2 weeks.
That's cool. I just can't edit it, but we can try to do some later. That'll work out too. I mean, especially if it's next week when I get back, because we can maybe do them earlier. I don't know if you have to work particular schedule or whatever. Anyway, but go ahead.
I'll be able to make it happen. But yeah, welcome to the Well Spoken Podcast. I'm Mark. Sorry we missed you last week. For those of you who was checking for it, but we back at it this week with the new hotness and what's going on in culture. You got your boy Roosevelt over there. Say what's up to the.
What's going on, peoples? What up, peoples? Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, we gave you something interesting. Thanks for all those who subscribe and those who tell folks about it. We appreciate you.
Yeah, man, appreciate that. It's been hard. It's been honestly hard to do these for me the last few weeks.
It is too. Like I feel it. Like I don't want to be like, I heard some people call it like the oppression, like Olympics, where it's just like you're kind of catapulting your content just based on like oppression, and it's just like I'm just tired, and it's like it's important and it's what's in the news, but it's tiring.
And not just that, but that's all I really want to talk about, man. That's all that's been on my mind. It's just been frustration after frustration, and that's really all that I was so immersed in it. I had to take a step back because it was just
it takes over.
Yeah, man, it's exhausting. And then
another one, just a couple days ago or yesterday, whatever it was.
Today, right? That was this morning. Old girl got shot with her son in her arms with a shotgun, apparently. And
I feel like it was on the first, but
on the first. Yeah. Well, that was yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. But anyway, at any rate,
don't know what day it is no more, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just swimming every day. So yeah, but yeah, I'm just seeing it, and it's just frustrating because each day it's a new hashtag, it's a new name, and it's the same old replies about, well, why'd she do this? Why'd she have that? Da 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 da. Mm-hmm. It's like just recycle the same situation.
Exactly, and it's then you get idiots like Bow Wow who say something stupid, right? And
I mean, I can't relate because I'm mixed. And then this fool, did you see when he posted a picture of his dad?
Yeah, like since when was you mixed? Like, your dad
he posted a picture of his dad, and he had like he lightened it up. He put like a filter on it on Instagram, like extra filter. I'm like, it was like extra bright. Like he either like raised the brightness.
Oh wow.
Or something. It was like it wasn't like a normal looking picture. Like it was like extra bright.
I saw
like that, please.
I saw it. I didn't see the actual Instagram post. Wow, I didn't know he went that far with it. Like,
and it's like it's clearly that his dad was black. It's not like he had like an ambiguous dad. It's like he's black. What are you?
I'm like, since when is your ass mixed? But anyway, but I guess it brings me to kind of what I want to get on today is like you said, the oppression Olympics is a good way to put it. I mean, is that all like the Black Lives Matter movement is in terms of, because I feel at this point, I'm tired of talking about it and there needs to be some action. And I know I'm just like everyone else who says what there needs to be and what there needs to be. And I need to get out there and try to make it happen. And I'm trying little by little to do what I can.
Right.
But I'm also one of those who was in that precarious position of I got a 9-to-5, I got a wife and kids, I got mouths to feed, I got bills, so I can't just be out there running from, event to event. But I'm trying to do my best, but it's like the lack of organization is depressing, right? And the lack of movement in the movement, from my perspective, seemed depressing. And then you had the CNN writer, I think he's a black brother. John Blake.
He's salt and pepper like you. I saw the picture. I was like, is that Lloyd?
As good as me. But he came out with this article that kind of stuck out to me is Black Lives Matter blowing it, and he, basically the kind of the same questions I was having in terms of what is what's the next step? You feel me? Like what is we
Right.
okay? We get protesting, we get bringing attention to these issues, but what's next? We need organization. I'm not even going to front and say I'm trying to lead to. I need a direction to be pointed into, and it's something to invest some money or some time into, an organization that I can get behind. Besides just, hey, we're gonna be protesting this next thing. We're gonna hashtag it out. Like, what's next? I see the website, I see the agenda, but where's we're gonna go here and do this? You know what I'm saying? Or we're starting this organization. Or what's next?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because while on one hand it's encouraging to see, it seems like more and more people like are in that position where they feel something needs to happen. But like you're
Mhm.
saying, we don't know what it is, and most people are just looking left or right to see who's going to be that change. Because, like you said, also a lot of us are in a situation where, hey, I want to support you, but I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the spokesperson, but I want someone to be that.
Yeah,
And now, and with this mobility thing, like a lot of us are professionals, so it's hard to find that 24-year-old who's like all about it, who's not attached to the system, if you will, in some way, who's just ready to kind of risk it all, if you will.
right, right. No kids, no attachments, no job to really worry about. You know,
Right,
so who can lead and organize. You know what I mean? Because I
right.
respect the Black Lives Matter movement on one hand because we not the desire to try to link up with a Sharpton or a Jesse Jackson or somebody like that is out there, but they're doing their own thing, and we don't need to do that. We don't need to support of the church, etc. We're kind of doing our own thing, but then the question becomes, what is that thing? Like
Yeah,
when
and that's the thing. Like I've seen a few things coming on. We share some articles with the what's it called? Movement for Black Lives. Is that what
okay, I
it's called?
see that. Yeah,
They
see,
have some, some bullet points. They're, occupying some spaces. They're doing some marches. They're, protesting at city halls and things like that. And they had a little bullet point list. I can't recall the things on it. I think one of them was the resignation of Bratton, or wasn't it?
I think that was Chief Bratton. Is that what they're looking for? I didn't
I
catch that.
think that was on the. I saw. I sent you another article too. I don't know if you saw it, but it was he's stepping down next month.
Really.
Yeah, and it said, as a result of whatever backlash and protest. I'm not sure what the language is, if it's actually there, but I saw the article. It said that, from pressures, because he's put together, the NYPD, and he's started the whole
Stop and
broken
frisk.
windows and stop and frisk and what's they call it, quality of life kind of arrest,
Mm.
like the stuff that led to Eric Gardner being choked out, that kind of stuff, like, oh, selling
Mm.
cigarettes. So he was a big kind of, he started that going in New York, so he's been getting a lot of heat. But yeah, said he's supposed to be stepping down next month. He's taking some private job.
Right. So he's stepping down, but stepping up in probably status and influence.
Probably.
Like Rudy
Right. He's
Young.
like, hey, I don't got time for this. I'm about to just go make some private money.
Right. Like it's crazy. So those are good things. And I want to highlight, I know in the CNN article, the title, let me give you the exact title. Is Black Lives Matter blowing it, right? By John Blake. It was he posted it yesterday, I believe. He updated it today around noon. And he
Okay.
outlined he basically did some research, talked to kind of people in the know, and he gave about four, I don't want to say reasons that they may be failing, but just four factors that may lead to the demise of Black Lives Matter, right? And
Hmm.
he rose questions of like at some point who is the central leader or central leaders who can speak for the group, right? Because that's the problem now, right? Without a central leader giving the narrative is being told by the Bill O'Reillys or the Fox News or the whoever, right? You can
Right.
say Black Lives Matter advocates for killing police because someone can say "F the police" hashtag Black Lives Matter, and you can attach that to the movement because there's no central organization that can kind of standardize the message and standardize
Now,
and stylize some things. Go ahead.
right, I will stop short of that because we all know how media works. There's only whatever it is, three news outlets that control the whole media, and of course, most of those are pro status quo. So
Mm-hmm.
there are always going to be anything that's come to shake up that power structure. They're always going to talk down against it because that's where the ratings are. That's where most people who are still watching the evening news, that's their market. But it doesn't help. You know what I mean? I'm definitely there with you. Like, it doesn't help. But I don't think that if they was on point, like, doom doom doom, this is what we wanted. Here it is. Here's our whatever manifesto, our mission, our core values, whatever it may be, that people wouldn't still be saying the same thing because you can always
Yeah, but
find some radicals, some outsider, and put it there.
here's the thing.
But it does lead to it. It's easier. I
Yeah, I
feel you.
think they
Go
they
ahead.
wouldn't be saying the same thing, but I think what Black Lives Matter, the movement, those who they seem to be reluctant leaders, and they don't want to assume the mantle of leadership, and whether they like it or not, they are leaders, right? People go to
Right.
them for sound bites. DeRay getting arrested makes it a bigger story. DeRay being there is a bigger story, right? It,
Right.
you know, but they've
But
been
that's
reluctant to
that's
say.
one of the things that's hard because if you're going to be all about it, it's like, how do you fund that? Because then if people start saying, oh, well, he's funded by so and so, then they're going to say, well, is his message just perpetuating something else?
Well,
And that's
I,
the difficulty.
honestly, I mean, you can crowdfund anything at this point, right? I mean, that was the whole Barack
Okay.
Obama thing is he raised all this money by $1 and $5 and $10 donations, right? I think there are thousands of people who want to be a part of the movement. And if Black Lives Matter said we're gonna have a fund to
Uh-huh.
support the organization of Black Lives Matter, that will fund a convention where we can bring people and share ideas, and we'll fund some of the activities to trans,
Hmm.
and we'll do it with full disclosure. I'll donate $10 here. You know what I'm saying? $20 here, whatever it is. You know,
I mean, it sounds nice, but yeah, I mean, I agree. Something formal needs to be set up, and it's in a difficult situation now because there's so many people in so many different areas spread apart who are like doing things to
right?
now
Because
be like, oh, here goes the leadership structure.
exactly. I mean, they got something like, according to the CNN article, they got some like 30 chapters across the nation, right? Like,
Hmm.
it's funny because I looked on a website a while ago. I was like, oh, I almost said they have a Black Lives Matter Houston. The
Uh-huh.
website does not have a Black Lives Matter Houston. It says the nearest one is Austin. But then I looked on the local news, and they got some guy talking, and under his name is so and so from Black Lives Matter Houston. But
Right.
Black Lives Matter doesn't say they have a Houston chapter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too, because what's to stop? Like, they have a whatever new Black Panther Party. What's
Right.
to stop me from saying, "Oh, new Black Panther Party of Redondo Beach"? You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone gonna call me up, like, "Hey, hold on,
Well, the
you
same.
ain't official."
Right. So until you organize and get official and incorporate or do whatever you got to do, you run that risk, right? Because right now
Yeah.
we're in a fraternity. Can't nobody just walk around saying, "Oh, so and so
Well,
repping A."
well, we do know that happens. All right.
We do know that happens, and then but there is an organization that can go against that and that can refute that. That is an official organization, right? Does that
It can, right? And so I mean,
and they do, and they do.
I don't want to split hairs here, but I do feel like that they need to have, organization needs to become official.
Yeah,
Right. So yeah,
general
I'm
leadership,
with you.
maybe some type of incorporation. Just make it something solid where, hey, I can
I
donate.
actually think there's going to be some new kind of organization that starts up. I don't know if it's going to be whatever movement for Black Lives or Black Liberation
I mean,
movement, or if it's going to have something else. And I think that they're going to kind of like acquire the different Black Lives Matters
yeah, what I would love to
operations.
see is like an African student union or a Black student union for all these Black organizations, right? An umbrella
Uh,
organization that can bring them all together and get them to sit at the table, and we can move as one unit, right? This
Uh-huh.
month we focusing on this thing. We're all focusing on this,
Yeah.
because there's so many different ones out there now, pulling you in so many different directions. And the NAACP is mad about this, and Urban League is mad about this, and Black Lives Matter is mad about this, and what is
Yeah,
it?
and that point brings up some thoughts where it just gets even more frustrating because of course, um, we're all human, right?
Right.
So there's power struggle, who's going to be the face, who's getting the interviews, because people are mad at DeRay for being up on, always being on CNN, always being the highlight. Other people are like, well, other people got arrested too. But then the thing that's tough about it is that a lot of these people wouldn't have got out if there wasn't noise about getting DeRay out. So it's just so tough because there's the human level of it. There's the people are frustrated. There's the people who are attacking it, and it's unorganized. So sometimes it just feels like overwhelming, and it's like it's
Exactly.
so important, it's so paramount, it
So
has to be figured out.
it's to the point right now where it's only appealing to the die hard, right?
Right.
You really got to be die hard. I ain't got, I can devote all my time to really be involved in to really involved in the Black Lives Matter unit. The normal person who really wants to help but doesn't necessarily have the time and energy to go to drive from this city to this city, or the money to do that, can't necessarily help, and we want to help. And I think if they did organize a little better, we could get some things around that. You know,
Right.
so moving on from that point, there was another point I really wanted to touch on, which he brought up that they've seen as a challenge that I saw was a strength, is that the Black Lives Matter movement is not trying to mobilize the Black church, right? Basically
Hmm.
saying that the Black church has been the place to go for over a century for leadership in the Black community, kind of give direction to the Black community. And basically, if you want to do anything in the Black community, you need the blessing of the church. We see a lot of these politicians trying to go get these Black church leaders to help speak for them and support them, and which I love the Black Lives Matter movement for that, because the minute the church is involved, I'm looking at you sideways. And I think there are more millennials or younger people our age and younger who will look sideways if the church was involved. So I think it's actually a strength that the church is not involved, weakness.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's a good thing, but also it's tough for me to say that it's a good thing. Hold on a second.
What?
Hold on a second. Yeah, sorry about that. Just trying to navigate this thing. All right, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so what I was saying is, I think that it's a good thing that it is separate from the church, but I also think that it's unfortunate because I do believe that we lack these places of unification in big numbers. So it used to be the church, of course, it isn't anymore, but I do feel that I wish it still was, but I understand that it isn't.
The church can't be
And
trusted though.
I mean, I get it because I don't know, like, I don't know how I would describe it, the reasons why we're not together in big numbers in kind of any kind of fashion anymore.
And
And I feel like other cultures still have larger scale
how?
connections that I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think.
Because
A lot
I
of
look
people
at
in this culture, like, the Jewish community is very tight knit. You know, Chinese, Japanese. It's just like tight knit. You got little China, you got
right,
little
and
Ethiopia, da, 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 da. But
at
there's
this
no like,
point, those are all lots. By number, they're smaller populations than the Black population in America, correct?
right.
It might be a little easier. Whereas it's funny because I think the
Well,
Black
is the Jewish community
I would
smaller?
I think there are less Jewish people in America than there are African Americans. I have to look it up. I'm not exactly sure, but I would
Well,
imagine.
actually, I guess that makes sense because it's a subset, and we're still
Right.
such a small
Right. If you look
population.
at Jewish,
But it wouldn't be everyone. But like it doesn't have to unify all of us. But I
but
feel like a big
the
number of
flip
us
side
aren't
is,
unified.
I mean, maybe just obviously because I'm black, so I'm more in tune with it. I feel like there's so many black organizations that try to unify, right? I mean, if you look at it just off of the Divine Nine frats and sororities, you know, it's so many people. If they were to unify up and counted all the people who are at some point involved in the divine nine frat and sorority, let's not say financial versus not financial, just all together. I mean, the numbers would be staggering. You know what I mean? Like we could really move something. You got frats and sororities. You got people who were, the social organizations, NAACP, Urban League, right? As the SCLC still around, or Push, or whatever else. There's all these organizations with people, and you know
Well, that's the frustrating thing. What's the holdup?
the
What I just
hold
said.
up is we're siloed, right? We're doing this, they're doing that, and no one's unifying efforts on a larger scale, right? We may do an event with the AKAs, but Alpha and AKA nationally is not making no moves together. Does that make sense? Whereas
Right, right.
if they did, we could probably move the needle. Like if the Divine Nine came out and said, "This, we're going to do a Divine Nine initiative, voter registration push for the month of October. Every chapter, grad, undergrad, every member get out and push the vote." You don't think that would have weight?
I mean, it does, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to be in a situation where I start wagging my fingers at all of us or whatever. But like you said before, we are very siloed, we are very fragmented. Not
Yeah,
only within our each of our own organizations, but against each other. We got beef with this, we got beef with that.
yeah,
Oh, and then it's that chapter, you know, they're
right.
uptight or they're not down. So I don't I
It,
just struggle to think about how to kind of break past that
I don't know.
and
I mean, because you
unify.
got the 100 Black men out there. There's so many organizations. I don't know if the Jewish community has that many organizations. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
Yeah.
if
Let me
the
jump and ask you a different question. Sorry. Like, okay, we spoke a little bit earlier about how there isn't a clear, I guess, kind of goal. What do you think it should be?
for Black Lives Matter.
Not necessarily for them, but just in general for our people. Like maybe it wouldn't be
Well,
through them directly, but
me. I'm very, very simple. Like I actually agreed a lot with the movement for Black Lives. Their little manifesto you shot me. I agree with their tenets almost 100%. Divest, all of those things. I think primarily it needs to be the empowerment, the unification and empowerment of Black people in America. So whatever that is, that's, I told you before, three pronged, right? Economic, financial, education wise, and community based. So the main goal should be to come together, create communities, and empower those communities. Whether that's angel investing in Black businesses, or finding young Black entrepreneurs to help bring small businesses in their community, whether that's recruiting people to move in and target specific communities one at a time to build them up, whatever that is. It's to empower, to bring us together in an empowered community. I don't know if that's too broad or,
I mean it's kind of broad. I mean, it makes sense. Um, I guess my question is more so. No, those are kind of the umbrella kind of
I guess.
three prong system, like you
I
said.
guess
But what would the first step be?
the flip
You
the
said
flip
I think we kind of talked about this. Would it be like relocating all to like one area or something?
Well, I guess, yeah, I think there's strength in numbers, and I think we need a base. So yeah, the first step, honestly, the first thing I would love to see It's like it's these organizations, all these organizations who want to help the Black community sit down at the table, come together, and create a national Black agenda. That's step one. One national Black agenda.
Okay, so that's about what 10 years. Take 10 years to get that done.
I mean, why does
If
it
we was
happen?
on it aggressively,
If you have,
because like,
if you
because
have a leader,
who has the final say? Who's the leader? Everyone gonna want to be that leader.
or not. But what I do know is, I think that's a negative way to look at it. What I do know is we, you could always elect one. You could have a general election. You could do whatever. Um, let's say who's hot right now. Let's say DeRay. Let's take DeRay, right? DeRay, for all intents and purposes, I think is hot in these streets in terms of woke America, woke Black America, whatever you want to say, right? I think he has more cachet to move the needle than a Jesse Jackson. Does that make? Would you agree with that or not? I'm trying to
Definitely
think of
agree.
a bigger
I
name.
feel like DeRay and Jesse Williams are kind of like
Jesse Williams. Jesse Williams is
the two.
perfect. Jesse Williams right now can do no wrong. If Jesse Williams said, "I'm putting $200,000 behind it, and I'm raising money to have a first annual or first buy-in, whatever convention of Black convention. Who knows what it will be called, right? So in members of, just like you had the RNC or the DNC, right? You got the Black National Convention. They
Okay.
come together, they set an agenda, they discuss issues, they create a plan for the next term, and they execute that 12-month strategy. That won't 10 years for what? If Jesse Williams said come, who's not gonna come? Who's going, what head of organization will turn them down?
Oh
Maybe.
no, I think that's a good point. And I was being a little, facetious, but I was just saying that figuring out what the actual agenda is will be
Well, yeah,
a lot of negotiation. But I think that's a good point. Do you think we should, try to put something together to get to his peoples? Maybe a call to action or something?
Jesse Williams.
Yeah, like a call to action, maybe an idea we thought that he could spearhead.
I feel like, yeah, why not? I feel like someone's already should have thought of this, but you never know.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it could just serve as motivation. Like, oh, we had this idea. Other people might are thinking the same thing. Maybe let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah, like I actually started writing an open let. I didn't know how to do it, like an open letter, just expressing my frustrations, and I was going to just send it into like the root into other Black publications. Maybe they publish it and cats would hear it and reach out and try to hook up, because I'm just
I
so
think that's dope.
frustrated.
I've wanted to do the same thing. I've been hesitant to start it, but
Me
maybe I
too.
should do that. Maybe that'll give me my motivation to get it going.
You're a better writer than I am.
I mean, we could bounce back the same one and just
Yeah.
submit that one if you want to
Hey,
do that.
hey, sitting together and get a bunch of Black fathers to sign it. Who knows? But just imploring these cats, if they could get together and come together and unite, 1 week in Philly or wherever, get
They had
together.
some meetings. Did you hear about like the Carmelo one in LA?
Yeah, the karma, but yeah, but the focus is always, I think, to sound like those finger wagging folks. Not how can I say that?
Oh, yeah, how can you say it?
The opposite coin of those, the what about Black on Black crime, or we need to fix our own communities, right? I think the opposite coin of that or is to say, let's stop going to politicians and having, let's not the town hall, the sit down with the police, or to sit down with the fraternal order of law enforcement, or whatever it's called, right? To sit down with local politicians, that's the next step. We haven't gotten the first step. We need to decide together, what do we want, right? The royal
I
we,
feel
what
that.
do we want? So yeah, Carmelo's cool by sitting down, but Carmelo's over there siloed doing his own thing, right?
Well, I
However,
feel like it was a lot of folks there. I feel like Jesse Williams might have even been there.
he had a
I don't
lot
know.
of folks, but it wasn't a let's lock the room and talk about a Black agenda. It was, let's sit down and try to get the police to understand where we're coming from. It was a sit down, a town hall with people to express themselves to law enforcement or to local politicians to express their frustrations and then get them to do something about it. Does
Yeah, I
that
agree
make
with you. It's a good point. I get it.
Whereas if Carmelo, maybe shoot, I think Carmelo might have a good chance to pull. If he wants to really do something, that'll be the person I did maybe get to Carmelo. Carmelo, whoever else, y'all want to really do something, set up a convention, a 1 week convention where these organizations can send delegates. Anyone else who wants to attend can be a general attendee. They don't necessarily get to sit at the table, but they can listen to what's going on. And y'all lock yourselves in a room and we knock out a national black agenda, right? Straight out chapter retreat style. It's not hard. You got all these organizations all want different things at the same time, you know? So it's just like it becomes a bunch of noise. So if I was Hillary Clinton or whoever, it's a bunch of noise. Who do I listen to? Is you want police reform. You want to reinstate the Voter Rights Act, right? You want mass incarceration and reform of the jail system. You want the education system reform. You want health care. Okay, I can't. Who gets what first? What organization wins? Do I
Right.
listen? If I listen to the NAACP, the Urban League gets pissed off. If I listen to the Urban League, the Rainbow Coalition gets pissed off. If I listen to them, Black Lives Matter ain't messing with me. If I listen to Black Lives Matter, nobody's messing with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this politics? These people we want to help us. What are they to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great point and idea, and I think that we should put some energy towards writing that open letter, if you will, to Carmelo or Jesse Williams, what have you, and see
Yeah,
what's up.
man.
Because I think it makes sense, to send a delegate, have these kind of central situations where we figure out bullet points, plan of action, set a priority list, and then start doing it.
Exactly. And no one don't step out of line. You
Yeah.
know, cool. We will get to police brutality. Let's start here at voter registration or voter reform or whatever. Let's start here. We'll get there. It's on the agenda, bruh. We gonna get to y'all. But you know, I'm sure there's some reason it hasn't happened yet, right? Maybe there's something I gotta be missing.
Well, I mean, it's very complicated because, of course, like it's all tied to a system that wants to disenfranchise us, that wants to keep us subjugated. So our ties to that often, make it more difficult for us to really break it apart. Because hey, you benefit from it. Hey, you make a lot of money because you're on TV, even though TV a lot of times doesn't have a good depiction of you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's hard to divorce yourself from that when that's how you kind of make your living. And I think that a lot of these structures, like when you talk about divesting, it's a lot of times you're divesting from something that is investing in you. So it's very difficult to get people to actually say, I'm about that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's a good place to leave it, man. I just definitely wanted to get a quick one out here and just kind of get my voice, kind of express, get it off my chest, man. I'm just definitely. I hope Black Lives Matter survives. I hope they listen to the article. Maybe decide to organize. If not, maybe we need to just figure out a way to try to implore them to just come to the table together and come out. And if we can, we formulate one message and as close as possible to one voice. I think that was the power of King at the time. Of course, it was less networks and less news coverage. So, but it was there may have been other organizations, but it was pretty much one voice they were hearing, right?
Right.
One message they were hearing. We were very focused on what we wanted. We wanted equal rights for voting and so on. And we went, there
And this is
was
how we gonna go about it. This is what we gonna do.
right. You had the Nation of Islam. You had Malcolm X to an extent, but it was pretty much the messages were pretty much still the same. And those two spoke and
Mhm.
met at a certain little time, right? And just like back in the day with Du Bois and Booker T, they were rivals, but I think they tried to come together and at least at some.
Yeah, it's tough too. Like, I mean, not only like you're saying, the rivalries and also different ideologies, and then also you most people have the understanding that these two men and all the the women and everything else that was supporting it, all the people on the sidelines that we don't know their names, a lot of them ended up dead. And it's hard to find folks who are like, yo, this is so imperative. Maybe I won't make it there with you. And I find it similar. I mean, this might be in poor taste, but it's like like rap beef. After kind of Biggie and Tupac got killed, it's like, hey,
Wasn't no more real rap beef.
yeah, it's like yeah, I'm not really about that. Like 50 and Ja Rule's like, hey, it ain't that big of a deal. I'll just go do something else. Like it's over. Oh, whoever may be uh that was having beef, like it never really got to that level because it's like, yo, I'm not really trying to die. I don't like you, but I'm not trying to be out here dying. 50 in the game or whatever.
I mean, the
I just saw
game.
something that they just got back together. I guess they buried the hatchet. I guess
Really, did
recently.
they? Because the game, it came to actual busting of guns outside of a radio station.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was violent for a little bit. There's been some lower level kind of people killed or whatever based on this thing, but it's really it was bubbling to a point, and then when the brightest shining stars ended up getting killed, it was like, yeah,
but I think they had real beef. I think, and I don't want to get into whole hip hop conversation, but I do think at some level they realized from that beef, the music corporation realized from that beef that rap beef is good money, right?
it is
For both sides involved. So right, rap beef saved Nas's career. Wasn't nobody checking
absolutely.
for Nas before the Jay-Z beef.
Yeah, I mean, just like the elections too. I mean,
Yeah,
everything is just beef. Oh, I'm better, you're worse, you're trash. Here
beef
goes
is
this
beef.
commercial,
So,
this and this and this.
so I don't
It's all
know
for
how
sale.
I don't know how real some of the recent rap beefs have been,
I mean,
um,
exactly.
to get to the Biggie and Tupac level. But
Yeah, and just like the Taylor Swift and Kanye, all this stuff, it just a lot of it, I wouldn't be surprised if someone peeled back the screen and was like, oh, this is fabricated.
yeah,
Like it
you
was
gonna say
just
this, you gonna say that. Yeah,
yeah.
man. But I'm about to get up out of here, man, and
All
get
right,
on.
man.
But I definitely appreciate. Hold on, let me do this the right way. But that's the episode today for the Well Spoken Podcast. Thank you all for listening. We do appreciate you for listening, sharing your thoughts. Send it out to other people. If you have a response, if you want to get on this letter and help us out, please let us know. We're definitely open to all that. You can always reach out and contact us at.
Wellspoken_pod on Twitter or on Gmail. It's wellspoken_pod@gmail.com. Let us know. Share it. Subscribe. We're available in all the stores: SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Shout Engine, any and everywhere.
Absolutely. And until next time, peace.
Peace.